Dragon Ballers, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super or One Piece sealed product, make sure to get 5% off using my link to Mystic TCG down in the description. You can also sell cards to them using their Facebook link, which is also down in the description. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? We are here with Scott Dashy to go over his widely requested green Piccolo deck profile from the Core TCG Regional. What's going on, Scott?
What's up, guys? What's up, Joey?
So, Green King Piccolo. I know you play this for the past 3 regionals, I want to say. What's got you so infatuated with this leader?
Whenever I make a deck, I always try to see if it fulfills certain criteria. And King Piccolo technically fulfills all that criteria. It plays free bodies that can attack, and those free bodies do things. They clear the board. It can act as a draw engine, and you don't need much of the theme in order to run the deck. So that's a key with a lot of people that make these decks, is how much can we squeeze, like how little of the theme can we run in the deck, and then put all the good staple stuff in to fill in the cracks. And that's what I did here. I just only run very little of the theme and run mostly green good stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's a huge cornerstone of like a lot of meta decks right now. And of course, I also know you want the brownie points for playing green and being a little bit off meta.
Yes, I do.
But yes, it worked out well for you. So let's take a look at the list here. We have 4 copies of Paragus, super obvious. 3 copies of Gohan, Latent Power Unleashed, just what you're talking about, being able to fill in those green staples into the deck list. I'm curious, like how many like really high cost unisons did you come across? Because obviously Boo is limited. Like I don't think people are playing a ton of 3 cost unisons, but what were some that you maybe use this against?
When I played against Green Cooler, I've used that to kill their 3-drop Frieza unison. Obviously, Boo unison. It kills entire, like it can kill like GT early on. It does a lot. It definitely does a lot if people aren't paying attention. Like even if like the SS4 Gogeta unison does its minus effect to swing, or the Android 18 and 17 unison, if they swing, I can combo with the Gohan if they like attack or whatever, combo, pay 1 green, and then the unison dies off the board after that. And as a result of the unison dying, a lot of their other stuff is shut off, and their pressure is now mitigated. And if they don't run a unison, I can just pay 2 to have a big body out there.
That's a really good point, is actually the ability to use it on defense, which I don't think a lot of people think about. It almost makes the turn that you play a unison against a green deck pretty scary, but yeah, that's a really, really good point. 4 copies of Dormant, of course. We have 3 copies of Piccolo Jr. Faded Rivals and 3 copies of Goku Jr. Not Goku Jr., regular Goku Faded Rivals. Yeah, more bread and butter. Obviously, this deck is like Namekian focused, so Piccolo makes a lot of sense here. But yeah, general hand control, and with God stealing out of the format, this just gets a lot stronger, right? Like, was this your main combo for like kind of sealing the deal in most games?
Yeah, if my opponent is tapped out, I don't care if they play blocker negates or sparking negates. I can just get rid of their hand with Piccolo. And Piccolo has won me games because people forget that Piccolo's effect can neg markers off of unisons for how much Z energy I have. So I've killed a Boo unison for basically 1 energy. Playing Piccolo, kill their Boo unison, and then just swing and just kill them from there. And it applies so much pressure, the perfect number. Piccolo has 25k attack. That is the perfect number. And Goku can finish off the game, depending. And if not, your opponent's usually crippled afterwards, and they have to deal with those 2 bodies.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I'm actually curious too, how much Dabura did you come across? Were people actually respecting green this weekend?
1 person ran Dabura on me, if I can recall. Actually, only in the past several webcams, I think only 1 person has Dabura'd me, and it was also a green deck. It was green cell. They knew, because my green brother, we both started Dabura against each other. We both used it.
That's funny. The only people that respect green decks are other green players. That's hilarious. That's right. But I mean, hey, it's better for your position in the format if people aren't playing Dabura. So that's hilarious. King Piccolo, Seal Undone. This is the piano equivalent for this leader, right? What's funny is there's a lot of 1-drop barrier hate this format. People are using it against Cumber. They're using it against some certain silver bullets. So was that an issue for you, or was this guy pretty much just sticking around all day?
He was sticking around all day because people, if they sided in Smoke Dragon, for example, they would want to use it on my unison instead of him, and I can just replay him. I usually have him in my hand, and so it's very like he rarely leaves the board. So very good card.
Yeah, 110%. Give this leader a whole lot of draw power. 4 copies of Charismatic, of course. Stupid ruling with this card, where if you play against a lot of the 21 stuff, like if they absorb it, they get to pop your board. So dumb, but I mean, otherwise, this card's incredible. Why did that come up for you?
Yep.
Oh boy.
I lost the game last webcam for that, for by doing that. Oops. So.
Well, at least you learned for this webcam. That's
good. Yep.
4 copies of Piccolo Unison. Yeah, the draw power is insane. It kind of sucks that this is, you know, kind of smoke bait, but I feel like with, you know, somewhat how aggressive you can be, you almost don't totally care if this gets smoked. Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. If someone pays 2 energy to smoke that, they usually have 1 energy open, if that, and then I'm just like, by turn 3, when I have 3 energy, I can apply significant pressure on my opponent and either kill them or cripple them on that turn. And so the deck draws a lot of cards too. So I'm usually have like a 10-card hand for most of the game, and so I don't care if it gets smoked.
Right. All right, now we go into the actual Demon Clan stuff. So 4 copy of Drum. This is not as broken as the red Drum was, but it's still pretty solid. On play, kill something, block an attack, make extra Z energy, pretty good. 4 copies of 2-drop Tambourine. On play, draw card. Does that actually come up much, having to pay the extra green for it?
Yes, it does. If I don't hit my Unison on turn, if I don't have it in my opening hand or don't draw it, I just pay an extra energy to draw a card. I can draw 2 cards a turn basically with that and the King Piccolo if I have to. And then I can just combo him away late game, because his 10k body doesn't really do much. I can combo him late game to get generate more Z energy for me.
Right. And then 4 copies of Symbol. So now that Champa's banned, this leader has a built-in Champa. That's one really cool reason to actually want to play this leader. 1 copy of Golden Frieza Newfound Might. I think a lot of green decks, even like non-cooler green decks, just tech this card as kind of like a dual attack triple strike finisher. That sound about right?
Yeah, it is. And I would not have beaten Jack yesterday without that card, because he had so many blockers on the board. I dropped that. He overextended to play blockers, which I don't blame him. He was going to win by deck out. And I dropped that, cleared his whole board, and then swung triple strike. And I sided out a lot of games, actually. I don't think I would run Golden Frieza. It's only because I ran up main board because it's a best of 1 pre-side, but I would put another Homicidal Clones in for that Golden Frieza and just side it in for certain matchups.
Gotcha. 1 copy of Cell Max. So this is your SCR of choice. I think this makes the most sense in this deck. Were there any other ones you were maybe considering playing?
The only other one I was considering was Cell Xeno, because I have 12 cost on the board often,
right? But
I almost changed it. But I was like, you know what? No, Cell Max has won me so many games, cheating my opponent. I cheesed a couple people yesterday, and other webcams just they're winning the whole game, and then I just drop that and I swing. They don't have a negate in hand. I quad strike them. It's crazy, and then having it on the board for 2 turns or so is devastating, because they don't want to get rid of it because they will get punished as a result. So it's the right SCR for green.
Gotcha. Yeah, the only thing that sucks about Cell Xeno is like you have to wait till turn 5, and I think in this deck you can maybe get some wins a little faster than that if you play this SCR, which is kind of nice. All right, 2 Goku's coming out of Flexion. This card is actually nuts. Like, green just keeps getting these staples that are, you know, pretty good on their own. I think they're just kind of waiting for, I don't know, some leader to make them meta. But this card's insane. How did it perform for you?
Awesome. In a meta full of Sin and the Majin Vegeta, yellow Majin Vegeta has a lot of 4 drops. A lot of this game is seemingly over the past couple of sets has become very, very like 1 to 4 drops are extremely common, and then it's like 5 drops, and then everything higher than 5 drops. It's like very crazy. So there's a lot of 4 drops that just come into play now. And Red Sin, for example, Red SS4 Gogeta.
Yep.
That card helps clear the board and make their decision making hard. And I'm glad I ran 2. I think 2 is the right number for the card.
Nice. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like 1 through 4 drops right now pretty much all have the same cost. They all pretty much cost 1. So yeah, the fact this kills anything 4 or less is really, really good. And then 3 copies of Cooler Arm Force. Same thing. This is just an insane green staple. Kind of, I feel like the deck maybe is a little bit energy hungry though. Like, when would you go for this instead of like the Fated Rival play?
I think this deck got better with Green Cooler. At first I didn't respect it, but then I was like, when I was testing, if I go first and I have 3 energy open on my turn 3, I charge a 3rd energy, and I'm not awakened yet, I can pay 2 for Cooler, awaken, untap 1. So I have 2 energy now, awaken. I have Cooler on the board. I can then use that 2 energy to play like a Frieza Z battle card, and then I can swing 3 double strikes at my opponent and make them discard cards. It was all like, I don't mind tapping out because of Dormant and Homicidal Clone. Plus, I have a big hand with like Paragus saving the day, and Drum is one of the best cards in the deck. Drum is literally a blocker, and when it's in the grave, it can be comboed from the grave. So I have a lot of hidden type of combo tricks that I can survive crackback turns if I'm tapped out. And my opponent has to make a decision if they're gonna, are you gonna attack my leader or are you gonna attack my board? Because if you don't attack my board, it has barrier, it's thick, it can discard your hand. Like, they have to make a decision constantly. And I usually definitely intimidate my opponent with the board, like a board. If imagine the 6-drop, 6-drop, 5-drop, you can just overwhelm your opponent pretty soon and make them make bad decisions as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that play you mentioned with the Frieza Z battle card and Cooler is actually pretty nuts. Like 4 energy total. They pitch 3. You pop some of their board. It's really, really good. Speaking of Z deck, let's take a look at that real quick. I think this is all pretty standard, except one funny choice I think you have is Frieza Unexpected Assistance. So yeah, 1-cost blocker. Is it randomly clutch sometimes or what?
Yeah, the only time I would ever play that is if I had 1 energy open and needed to kill my opponent, and he's a 10k attack. One drop 10ks aren't really that common. Like literal 1-drop 10ks aren't that common, and plus he's a blocker, and so I use him if I'm desperate to clinch the game out.
Yeah, he actually also has pretty cool synergy with Dormant too, because like Dormant then block and then one more negate is really good. All right, side deck. So you actually have quite a few spicy techs in here. So Smoke makes sense. Deborah, like we said before, only green players respect other green players. Urgent Aid Kami, mostly for Golden, right?
Golden and Marcus Kantar. See that guy is Soul Striker. You got to do it against Soul Striker, so that yeah, that will help.
Yeah, it's funny how this actually hits like 2 colors nowadays, instead of only blue. And then we have the anti-dimension magic punishing Silver Bullet, of course. And now this one's really cool. Cell the Ultimate Bio Android. I watched your game on stream against Hachiak, and when you casted this, I was like, wow, that's actually really nuts. So yeah, you want to talk about this card?
Yeah, so I want to shout out Cody Wojciech for this, because I didn't realize that you can just charge itself and pay itself as its own energy, and then I'm running green, so I have green energy and I can just play it. At first, I was like, but then as green is getting more and more staples, as you have said, as the green is getting more and more power cards, this card can definitely just end the game, especially if you have a massive board as it is. You can catch people off guard, and it definitely helped against Hachiak because it bypasses their leader skill, and it is devastating to them because it's so strong and can swing twice, and they can counter it, but they're going to lose cards in hand. It's also good against other like wide decks, like red, yellow Sin, things like that. So it helped.
100% that this card, the fact that this card is just like basically a green card, like only having 1 blue cost, and that the fact that it pays for itself, like you said, like that's actually a really cool find. Really, really cool stuff. All right, then we have our Koitsukai, our Bigamores, 2 more Homicidal Clones, and 1 copy of Brienne de Chateau. So this is just 2 cost like barrier removal at any time you want. I'm just curious, like where do you see the value in this card when you already have Goku Fate Rivals?
The only reason why I'm running this card is because I was expecting the OTK Gogeta deck where they drop the Brawly Secret Rare on turn like 1.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I need to clear that off the board, or any decks that go very, very like huge early. It's worth paying 2 to kill anything off the board, where Smoke can only hit 7 or less. So that's the only reason why I'm running this one of. And I sided in against Gogeta OTK. That's pretty much it. But
gotcha. All right, Scott. Well, that's the whole deck list. Very, very cool stuff. Any shout outs you want to throw out there?
I want to shout out Mystic TCG, the best vendor in the game. Eden, what's up, man? I want to shout out Crossworld because the team is awesome and the people in the group are awesome. They're constantly giving me ideas, and like theory crafting that I do is revolved around the discussions that they have. They may not realize it, but I'm listening. And I also want to shout out Joey and his indie project, New Mafia and New Mafia Genesis. You need to check that out. Check out his Instagram. Check out his project. It's coming along. It really is.
Thank you, Scott. I really, really appreciate that, man. And we'll see you next time.
See you.